Do you love the Galaxy S9's design but can't stomach to pay a price tag north of $500 for a phone? Well, you're not alone, and Samsung certainly wants your business too. That's why we have this baby, the Galaxy A8. It's a mid-tier, albeit a pretty pricey mid-tier phone that resembles the flagship S9 in appearance. Just look at that glass back. It reflects like its more expensive sibling. The fingerprint scanner is also below the rear camera, much like the S9's, which, granted, was released after the A8, so maybe it's the S9 who followed suit. It's a good scanner that also gives you some gesture support to bring down the quick settings. The A8 has a couple of unique things that separates it from other more popular Samsung phones. For one, this phone has two tray combinations that, when it's all set up and done, allows you to have two nano SIM cards and a micro SD card run all at the same time. There's no need to compromise one of those SIM slots for expansion. I've never seen this layout before in person. Another neat thing is that the loudspeaker is on the right side of the phone, right above the power button. It isn't great audio, but you won't be accidentally covering it up, unlike bottom-firing speakers.
There's a saying that when one chapter ends, another begins.
Now, where the A8 tries to borrow inspiration from its flagship siblings is with the curved glass back. Like the S9 and other Samsung flagships that have popularized this design, it feels great to hold in your hand and operate, albeit a slip and slide mess of fingerprints and potential scratches. The phone is built well, but noticeably a tier lower in quality than the S9. Without the curved front, you're left with a somewhat awkward result. Yes, I realize how ridiculous that sounds, but it's gotten to a point with Samsung phones that if it ain't curved, it ain't right. And the front just feels a little bit off when using the A8. The A8 also has a face unlock feature, which is a grade below the S9's iris and intelligent face scanner. It works only in optimal lighting, and I doubt it's too secure, so I stick mainly with the fingerprint scanner. The display is a 5.6-inch Super AMOLED panel that offers all that saturated richness we love from the Korean giant. It's only 1080p, but the 18.5:9 aspect ratio really helps elevate this phone's appearance closer to that of a flagship's. I felt there was a little bit of a blue tint with the display, but overall I liked looking at it. And as for the performance, well, my daily suite of apps ran smoothly with only minor hiccups here and there. With a combination of Android Nougat and Samsung's TouchWiz skin, the AA ran better than I expected it to. We have the Exynos 7885 processor and 4GB of RAM to thank for that. This octa-core chip is comparable to the Snapdragon 660, which is aimed for the high mid-tier range. I think it's safe for me to say that it fits this classification. I see this phone as a step up above the Mi A1s and the Honor 7Xs, but not at the wheelhouse of the OnePlus 5Ts or the Mi Mix 2Ss. Usually, when I see a phone only has a battery of 3000 mAh, I don't hold my breath for above average results. I guess that boasting Samsung made about their Exynos processors being more efficient with battery management was true, because I comfortably averaged about 5.5 to 6 hours of screen on time, while eking out about 13 hours on a day. Those numbers will get me by. I bet you're wondering about the camera performance right about now. The A8 has a 16 megapixel rear camera that maxes out at 1080p for video. This is a rather expensive mid-tier to not be able to shoot 4K, especially when competitors at a much less price tag offer 4K video. And as for results of photos, all I can say is that they're usable and definitely not the worst I've seen. Am I impressed by them? Not really. I feel like the A8 relies heavily on post-sharpening the photos to make them appear clear, but in reality it makes the results much less desirable. It's not that it's a bad camera per se. I was just expecting a little bit closer to the S9, especially at this price point where you are paying more than competitors who offer, in my opinion, similar camera results. But regardless of that nitpicking, I did find myself enjoying the A8. We say things like mid-tier, flagships, and budget phones, but what it comes down to is experiences. And without any classifications and price tags, I do think the A8 is a good phone that for $300, I would buy to use as a daily driver if offered the chance. For $450? It's a little harder to recommend, but then again, you're paying extra for that Samsung name, which some folks, they just have to have.
If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, hit the bell button below so that you don't miss a single video in the future. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!